So first things first, I wanted to format the calendar how it was going to sit on the page. I've never made a calendar before, so the stylizing of an Animal Crossing calendar was a brand new concept to my brain. Another thing I also knew that I wanted was each month to reflect how it looks in Animal Crossing, which I missed the bar a few times, specifically with the cherry blossom season, but I started with January with snow to symbolize the snow that falls on your island. I was also worried about the multi-digit numbers, but they all ended up fitting inside the circles quite nicely. I was worried I was going to have to make the numbers smaller, but I ended up not having to do that, which was absolutely fantastic. The formatting of the holidays actually changes from the initial formatting here. In this iteration, the items that you can buy in Nook Shopping do not feel as predominant as they should, since that's the main focal point of the design versus the holiday name itself. This isn't a holidays in Animal Crossing calendar, it's a Nook Shopping seasonal items calendar. Another issue with this calendar is how the holiday name text seems to get lost behind the date circles. So I ended up fixing that in the newer iteration. I'm still not sure how I like when there's not enough room on the boxes that I just made the holiday lines at 50% vertical scale. I also knew I wanted different NPCs from Animal Crossing on each of the calendar months. For example, I started with Isabelle, and that seemed very fitting due to the fact that Isabelle is the staple of welcoming you into Animal Crossing. For example, when you enter your town every morning, Isabelle greets you with the morning announcements. I was irritated by when I copy and pasted onto a new artboard that it required me to remove all the existing holidays from the last month. So I ended up using March as a blank canvas, but not before giving March this shamrock header, which I felt was really fitting for March since it is shamrock season. Once I had all artboards for all 12 of the months, I decided that I wanted to change the headers for each of the months for the vibe that I was looking for. I think that the most problematic month for this was August. August is more a back to school month and does not have a generally agreed upon main holiday or a generally agreed upon seasonal design. The most fun month to do was definitely June because of the Animal Crossing wedding season. October, November, December were also easy because of their majorly significant holidays in which we are hardwired to view each of those months with the corresponding holiday. After I finished all 12 months headers, I dove back into the March calendar dates. Each of the lines for each holiday corresponded to what I felt like matched with the holiday. For example, Valentine's Day would be pink or red, Shamrock Day would be some sort of green, etc. For the icons, I originally wanted the items to be on the actual calendar, like I said, with their corresponding holiday. Then I was trying to figure out how to put each of the items' icons on overlapping month holidays. It was just not working at all, and it looked very messy and not organized. And you couldn't tell which items went with each different holiday. Finally, after some trial and error, I decided I wanted to put the item that you could buy with their corresponding holiday underneath the date squares. So the color for whatever holiday would be behind that item for the holiday. I made each of them 0.5 inches tall, and then each item in the box would also be 0.5 inches each, so that would be wide and tall because it is a square. So 4 items in the box would be 2 inches wide, while the box would still be 0.5 inches tall. So I fixed that for January as well as February and then began working on it for March. The next challenge I faced was figuring out how to put the bars moving to the next month as well as the next week. I ended up doing this on a case-by-case basis, but I tried to sort the holidays in a way that it worked without gaps in the position on the date box. As needed, I also added different colors into each of the holiday lines. For example, I added that gold color into June for the wedding season. Some months had more holidays than others, so some months needed more colors than others. And some colors didn't match the holiday at all, so I had to add different colors that kind of fit in with the color palette. Then I did this for the remaining months, and it actually took over 7 hours to get all these formatted correctly. Not all at one time. That would be absolutely insane, and I would have gone bonkers. I went bonkers almost anyways. I even took a slight break to add in the NPCs. I wanted to include most, if not all, of the NPCs featured in Animal Crossing New Horizons. I based it off of either their corresponding holiday, like Zipper being in April for Easter, or by their color, like Captain and his family being in March because they are all green. The most odd set of NPCs is probably July because that's where I just put those extra NPCs that I wanted to include, but I didn't know where to put them. But I think it ended up looking actually pretty fine. If you don't know that, but now you guys do know that. So I think December is really fun in relation to the NPCs because December is the last month of the year, and the dodos from the airport are basically waving you goodbye, which I think is really cute. I could have done that for January also, but I really wanted Isabel and kind of like being welcome into the island, and the dodos are kind of like whenever you're leaving the island, so that's more of a goodbye structure. Then I finished off the last few calendars and had a lot of formatting issues on the last 3 months, so October, November, December. One of them was because there were so many holidays in portions of the month, specifically in December, that I ended up having to transform the holiday lines, scaling them down 50% vertically for literally all of the holidays. Another issue was in December that I had to figure out how to include all of the items in the boxes underneath the date boxes. I ended up not having enough room, so I added a plus however many extra items there were in this set to the end of 2 of the items because there were like way too many to even put, and it would have taken up like the entire page, not just part of the page. But yeah, this is the final result, and thank you so much for watching my video. Bye.